Welcome to the UWM podcast. Here we have Sam, our funded trader. He just received this 13K payout. How you doing today, Sam?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing great. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into trading, and your journey so far.
Yeah, so I actually found out about trading 7 years ago, but I only really got serious with it 4 years ago, which is when I really started learning, the process of trading. And I went through a few different communities, a few different strategies before really finding my edge. And I've been consistent now for a year. So yeah, I recently made the decision to go full time.
Yeah, that's great. And what were you doing before trading?
Yeah, so funny enough, I actually had a landscaping company before that. So as soon as I finished school, I decided to start a landscaping company, and I did that for 3 years, and it went really, really well. But honestly, I was tired of the physical labor and all that. So that's when I asked one of my friends that was successful at trading to start teaching me the basics and everything. And when I started finding success with trading, that's when I sold the company and went really full time into trading.
That's good. Quite a story. And what were one of the reasons why you really wanted to get into trading?
Well, obviously it's the same reasons as everybody. So there's the freedom aspect where you could just be at home or anywhere in the world and you can make money. And I also like the aspect of it really helps you develop, or I should say, it forces you to develop your psychological aspects. And you really, really have to work on your self-image and things like that, to where those aspects are not as much challenged into like a landscaping company or any other company like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you said you were introduced by your friend?
Yeah, I had a friend that has been trading. I think now it's been over 10 years, and he's obviously very, very successful at this point.
So seeing him, it pretty much that's kind of like what you wanted. So I think that's what pretty much attracted you to trading.
Yeah, well, obviously, when you see the profits that you make in an entire summer in one trade, it kind of gets you thinking like, okay, is there a way to learn this and to make these kind of profits?
Yeah. And I see that in your file here, this is your second payout with UWM. So tell us a little bit about that, how it feels to, trade full time and managing a live funded account.
Well, obviously, it's an amazing feeling, to finally be full time, and it's you have a lot more time on your hands, obviously, but I'm finding that with that time, I'm able to do a lot more things that I enjoy, like going to the gym and taking time for myself and with my family. So honestly, it's an amazing feeling.
Tell us a little bit about your trading. What type of trader are you? Are you a swing trader, day trader?
Yeah, so I would consider myself more of a swing trader because I don't really like to be in and out of positions within the same day. I like to hold positions, maybe I'd say on average 2 to 5 days. I like to catch big moves and really stick with a higher time frame. So yeah, you could say I'm more of a swing trader.
Okay, great. And would you be able to walk us through, your trading strategy and how you see and view the markets?
Yes, of course. So I can actually go through the screens right now. So this is actually a trade that I took on Aussie dollar, which is actually responsible for the $13,000 payout that I recently got. But we can see that we were in a clear downtrend on Aussie dollar, and we tapped back into. I can go on the 1 hour to show you clearer. We tapped back into this order block here, and we got a shift in market structure. As soon as we got a shift in market structure, that's when I really knew that we would continue that bear trend to the downside. So I entered right above this high here into this 15-minute order block, and that's when price tagged me in, and I got out right at this low here for a nice 7-to-1 trade.
Nice. And this is quite a trade. Now, do you catch these? How many trades a month would you say you take?
Um, on average, anywhere between 5 to 10 trades. Being a swing trader, I have multiple pairs on watch, multiple forex pairs on watch every day, because there's obviously not as many moves as someone that would, let's say, be on the lower time frames, like the 1 minute or the 5 minutes. So I have to sit on my hands a lot and really wait for these big moves, of 100, 200, even 300 pips, before they manifest. So sometimes I can find myself sitting on my hands, for a week or two at a time.
Nice. And do you use the weekly or the daily to view, big swing moves coming into the market?
Yes, of course. So I look at the weekly first. So the most important is the weekly and the daily. I establish which trend we're in. Are we tapping into any significant levels? Is there an indication that we might reverse, or we might keep going with the trend? And then the 4 hour, the 1 hour, and the 15 minute are all used to really time my entry.
Great. And what type of trading style would you say for you use for entries? I noticed you said order block. Is it SMC? What type of trading strategy do you use?
Yeah, so as I mentioned in the beginning, I went through, a few different trading strategies, supply and demand, support and resistance, even patterns. But what I found personally really resonated the most with the way that I looked and understood the markets was really the ICT way of looking at the market. So I look at order blocks, fair value gaps, all of those things.
Nice. And would you say you're at a point in your trading journey where you've pretty much found your edge and now you're just, repeating it on demand?
Yeah, well, the number one thing I learned actually is that less is more. So I used to have 5 or 6 different entry models, and now I only stick to one entry model. And I've really, really found my edge through that one entry model. I stick to it, and I know exactly when to execute when it manifests itself. So,
So thanks for showing your strategy, Sam. Can you walk us through now just, your trading when it comes to losses and your mindset with that?
yeah, so like I just mentioned, when you truly, truly know your edge after a couple of years of trading and you really, really know what you're looking for, you you shift your mindset from more of a focus of sorry less of a focus of, oh, is it a loss or a win, to more of, was this a trade that followed my plan? So I don't look back at a trade and say, oh, I took a loss, so I'm psychologically affected by that. It's more of, was this a trade that fit my plan? And if it was, then that's all that counts to me, is just for the next trade to be a good trade that fits my plan, and then I move on to the next, move on to the next. So it really eliminates the emotions because you focus more on your performance than the PNL.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why, you're already on your second payout with UWM is you have that mindset, right? A lot of traders they forget that it's not just technicals, but it's also mindset as well. Can you walk us through, what's helped you build, your mindset and who are some of the people you listen to?
Yeah, so I really, really like reading. So I found that there's 2 or 3 books that really, really help me understand my mind, and how it works, and where do I fall into certain traps. And the 2 books that I really, really enjoyed and that I've read multiple times now is The Chin Paradox and Psycho Cybernetics. These 2 books really, really go in depth of your self image. And it doesn't necessarily talk about trading. A lot of people are going to talk about trading in the zone and this and that, but you know everybody knows that you have to use proper risk management. Everybody knows these things, but what you really have to dive deep into is yourself. What are your what are areas in yourself that you have to improve? And these books are really, really going to help you um, you know look at that and improve that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And would you say right now you're at a point where um, you don't really need to focus on technicals and mindset, and you're just just trading, and then you're focusing on other businesses? Like, what is kind of your lifestyle right now?
Well, since trading is such a high performance sport in terms of your psychology, I never really switch off in the way that it's just on autopilot. I always really take time to still journal my trades even after all this time. I still look back and review my performance. I still do all these things on the weekend. I still prepare my charts on Sunday for the next week. So I there's nothing that I just stopped doing just because I started to see consistency and profits in my trading. So I still do all the little things.
Yeah, it's the little things that are going to really get you to that next level, because you have to stick to those things, right? What are some things that you do on your free time? You said that you were a landscaper and you had a landscaping business, and now you're a trader. Obviously, now you have more free time. So, what are some things you do on your free time?
Well, I like to do things that are gonna help me improve other aspects of my life. So obviously everybody knows that taking care of your physical body is also like another really really important thing. So I go to the gym at least 5 times a week. I really take care and make sure I get my heart rate up and stuff like that. um, I like to read also, and enjoy the time that I have for free. I take my mornings really for the trading because I'm in New York, New York time. So really, I trade the New York session, and sometimes even if I wake up early, the London session. And then starting at I'd say 12, that's when really the markets slow down. So that's when I can take the rest of the day to do it's either enjoy my day or go to the gym or hang out with family and friends.
Nice. And so you said you trade New York and London. So what does your like morning routine look like when you wake up? What time do you wake up?
Yeah, so I wake up at 6 a.m. every single day, and I don't look at the charts till 8 because I don't like just waking up and going straight to the charts. So I take 2 hours in the morning to do certain things to put me in a good mindset, get outside, get some fresh air, have a coffee. Those are some things that I really, really enjoy. I like to read and really take time for myself. And then at 8 o'clock, really when the New York session starts, that's when I know that I'm in a good mindset and I'm ready to look for my trades.
Yeah, that makes sense. Even me, I have a my own trading routine, and I get in the zone, and I feel like if you wake up right away and you go straight to the charts, you're like still half asleep. And I'm sure like you've dealt with that too as a full-time trader. Is if you don't have a morning routine, you could like easily like just wake up, take a stupid trade, and then you're already down for the day.
Yeah, well, there's so many disadvantages that of some people are going to be able to go to the charts right away when they wake up, but me, I know myself and I know that I can't do that. And not only, like you said, you take stupid trades, you take trades that don't fit your plan, but you also miss a lot of trades. So I don't know if anybody's ever gotten that feeling where there's a trade that plays out, and then 2 3 days later you finally see the entry in hindsight, and you're like, you don't even know where you were, when the entry happened. So it just shows that you weren't really in a good state of mind, and you weren't fully focused when you were looking at the charts. So every single time I open my computer in the morning, I make sure that I'm fully focused, because I mean trading is a business, so you want to treat it like one, right?
Yeah. And you seem, pretty focused on your trading, and you seem like you have the good foundations when it comes to trading. What are some things that you do to because obviously there's a lot of knowledge now in the trading space with social media, Instagram, Twitter. Do you listen to those platforms? Like what is your kind of like strict guidelines that you carry if you have any?
Well, I try to stay off social media when it comes to looking at the way that other people trade, because it can get obviously very distracting. There's a million different ways of looking at the market. So, um, someone's going to have caught in a trade here that you're not going to have seen, and then you're going to catch a trade there that they're not going to have seen. So it's better to just stick to what you're doing. And I think social media can be very, very toxic. You have Instagram, TikTok, X now, and there's a bunch of traders on all these platforms that have a bunch of different ways of looking at the market. So I try and stay away from that.
Yeah, definitely. And right now it seems like you you're pretty like strict with your rules and stuff. And would you say right now you're at a point where you're just like constantly making sure that you stay sharp with the markets?
Yeah, that's my number one focus now, is just to optimize my performance and make sure that I keep improving myself in a bunch of different aspects. And that's my main focus. I mean, that's what it takes to win in trading. So
Yeah, absolutely. And you said you've been doing this for about 4 years now. Um, what was the point in your trading journey where you felt like you hit rock bottom, and how did you like overcome that, and like even just like how did you keep your mindset to keep going?
well, the when I hit rock bottom was around 2 years into my journey, where I had gone through maybe 5 or 6 different trading strategies, and I hadn't found consistency with any of them. And I was starting to really question if I was ever going to be successful. But that's when I really had to just take a step back. I guess you could say I had to pick a trading style and just stick to it fully and tell myself that I wasn't switching no matter what. And then once I fully learned, the ins and outs of that strategy, that's when the psychological things that I had to work on, they really came to the surface. And that's when I also really worked on my psychology with those books that I talked about. and that's when my trading really just went completely uphill.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you said you went through different communities and stuff. Do you think it was the strategy that wasn't working, or it was just you that wasn't working?
Well, in every single community, or I guess you could say trading style that I've traded, there were traders that were successful. So, I mean, if they were successful, why wasn't I? It was clearly me the problem. I think it's just that at the beginning, you're sort of finding, what trading style you like and which one really helps you understand the market, in the best way possible. So, looking back, I could have been successful with every single one of those trading strategies or communities, but I don't regret anything. I'm really, really happy with where I'm at now.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason, right? And you found UWM. How did you find UWM, by the way? Like, was this your first prop firm going through this?
Yeah, this was my first prop firm, and I just heard about it just looking on Twitter. I saw you guys. You guys are really, really active on. Well, it's not. I keep saying Twitter, but it's X. Uh,
Yeah.
you guys are really, really active on X, and you guys were doing a lot of giveaways and having a lot of discounts. So I ended up looking into the looking at your website and stuff, and that's when I actually messaged the customer service with a few of my questions, because this is the thing, right? With whatever happened with a prop from recently, we
I
I didn't
forward
feel like,
those.
yeah. You don't want to just have these funding challenges with these I guess you could say sketchy companies that aren't going to pay you out or are going to have these little rules to try and get you to hit the drawdown and get you to lose the account. So I was really, really cautious, to try and find the best prop firm and the one that was the most reputable to me. So that's when, yeah, after messaging the customer service, I really was happy with the answers I was getting. So that's when I decided to buy a 100K founding challenge.
Nice. That's good. It's good to hear, and we appreciate the kind words. Would you say right now, in your trading, you have like more goals for the end of the year? Like, what is kind of like your timeline right now as a young funded trader?
Well, once you have a profitable strategy, really the answer is more capital. So that's the way of making more money in trading. So I'm obviously going to be trying to, maybe have another 100K or even 200K account by the end of this year, because instantly that's going to double or triple my profits. So I'm going to be looking at that now that we've started Q4. So that's my main goal for the rest of the year.
Cool. And aside from trading, what are you involved in like any other businesses? What are your plans for that?
Not currently. I really wanted to go all in into trading, but I'm really, really looking at 2024. If I keep making consistent profits, then I'm definitely going to start looking at other business ventures because trading, I can finish my day at 12, and then after that, I would really, really enjoy to build something else and build like I do miss that aspect of having a company and having like all these logistics to run. So I am going to be looking into that, but not currently.
Okay, cool. And you said you had a landscaping business. Do you feel like having that business, it kind of helped you bring that mentality into trading, and looking at trading in like a business way?
Yes and no, because it's not the same thing at all. Everybody that's tried trading knows that it's own beast. It's really not the same. When you're doing a landscaping job, you're not thinking of your psychology, or it's not affecting the way you do business. So it's a lot more like obviously physical and stuff like that. But when it comes to really being on point with tracking everything, like just like when I used to track every customer and track, my revenue, then yes, then it really, really came in handy because I was able to take those habits, I guess you could say, and bring them to trading. Whereas, a lot of traders, they just don't really bother with journaling or looking at, the past trades and this and that. Yeah, I really, really like looking at numbers because of that company. And yeah, so
Yeah, that makes sense. And if you had to like look at yourself in the mirror and you see just like your journey right now, what would you say are the three things that really got you to where you are right now, like in your trading journey?
Number one is focusing on yourself because with trading, as I mentioned before, you have a million different ways of looking at the market. So really focusing on yourself and what issues you need to solve, that really helped. Not looking everywhere else and just focusing on my journey. Number two, I would say, is not being afraid to ask for help. And number two, I would say, is really auditing who you're listening to, because I mean, it touches a bit into the point number one, but everybody online has an opinion now, and everybody wants to show you their way and the way that they do things. But you really have to audit and say, okay, is this person, have they achieved what I want? And then if the answer is no, then I don't think you should be listening to a million different voices. So yeah, really auditing who you're listening to. And then number three would be to remember the why, because with trading, even after a few months, a lot of people give up, let alone it took me 3 years to reach consistency. So remembering your why and remembering, obviously, the reasons why you've went on this journey are going to help you obviously power through the tough times. And a lot when you're in a lot of drawdown and you're figuring everything out, it's going to help you see the light at the end of the tunnel and just keep pushing.
Very well said. And now that we know that trading is your one thing, do you feel like when it comes to winning, it's harder than losing?
Surprisingly, yes, because as soon as I started winning, that's when a lot of, I'd say, the psychological issues actually creeped up on me that I didn't know I had. So, you start feeling like, not that you deserve it, but in a way that you don't feel worthy, I guess, subconsciously, of success. And you really have to work on that, because it's easy to just get all excited at seeing profits, and then you give it all back and things like that. You think that as soon as you start seeing consistency creep in, all the work is over, and now you'll just go to the moon. But there's still a lot of work to be done even when you're winning.
Absolutely. And right now, would you say you're at a point where um, that you can afford, losing, you can afford losing, or you're at a point where you're just like, you just want to win, and because obviously when you become a funded trader, it puts more pressure on you, right? You feel like you might end up losing this funded account. So what is your mindset when it comes to that?
No, I don't feel that way at all, because after over a year now of being consistent, I know my edge, and I know that if ever something happens and I do lose the account, which I think is highly unlikely at this point, but I know I could just do it all over again 1,000 times if I need
Yeah,
to.
because
So
you've acquired the skill, right?
exactly.
Yeah, and I think, well, it sounds like, going back to your landscaping, I think honestly, the way you said it, your message was having a skill that you can use to, like, have that free time. I think you've actually have acquired it now, wouldn't you say?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and obviously there's newer traders coming out, every day now, especially with prop firms being so popular. What are what would you say three things to newer traders coming into trading?
It's going to be similar to the points I discussed before, but number one is going to be choose a strategy and stick to it, because a lot of these strategies do work. It's just that you haven't stuck with it long enough. So that's number one. Number two, don't ever underestimate the importance of your psychology. So I'd say, after a few months of learning, the technicals of a strategy or whatever the strategy is, then really get to know yourself, get to know your psychology, and don't be afraid to read, certain books or go through certain things. Like I said, Psycho-Cybernetics and The Chimp Paradox are amazing books, and also obviously Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. And then number three is going to be uh, also don't overestimate the importance of journaling. Journaling is, I'd say, the number one thing that got me to where I am, because you can look back exactly at the trades you took and see which mistakes that I make, and then you can prevent them from happening again. Compared to a trader that's not going to journal, they're going to basically cancel those trades out of their memory, and they're going to keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. So those three things, I think, are, I guess you could say, the shortcut to success. I mean, if there ever is one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very well said too. And looking back at your journey now, if you had to restart all over again, how would you go about it, knowing with what you know now?
Um, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't change much because I'm happy with where I am now. But if I had to change one thing, it would have obviously been to not strategy hop and to really pick one mentor, one community, and stick to it, and not start questioning and looking everywhere at what's this person doing, what that person doing, because I think it would have at least saved me a year to a year and a half in my journey.
Absolutely. And what would you say, like, it sounds like the strategy hopping was a very, like, bad habit of yours. What other bad habits would you say were were kind of like a difficulty, challenging throughout your journey?
I wouldn't say it was a bad habit, but trading made me realize how much, often I was in a bad state of mind, and trading really helped bring that to the surface. So I guess you could say it was a bad habit to be in a bad state of mind, but it just made me realize that it's something I really had to fix. I was never in flow. I was never confident in my journey, my strategy. So when I really worked on that, it was game changer.
Very well said. We're happy to have you, as a UWM funded trader, and we're excited to see, what comes for you in the future. What are some goals right now you would say that you have with UWM?
Definitely, at least another, $250,000 under management. So I'd like to go for another 100,000 or $200,000 account in the next few months. That's the number one thing. And obviously, I think it's important for traders to also, grow their personal trading account and to really grow, as much as they can. And then once that's done, going into next year, I'm going to definitely start to be looking at other business ventures, looking to invest in real estate and maybe investing in a startup.
Cool, really cool. Those are some big, goals. And me and my team wish you the best of luck, Sam, and we're happy to have had you on the podcast. So take care, and we'll see you all in the next one.
Thank you.